Yo, what's going on, good people? It's your boy 3 Stacks in this thing, baby, representing Team Kings of Games. And today I'm coming at you guys with my take on NEKROZ. This is a revamp. I played NEKROZ way back in 2015, built them and rebuilt them and rebuilt them. I've sold this deck actually 5 times, and this is the sixth NEKROZ deck that I built. And this time I'm not going to sell them. They have a cheap reprint, so it's easier for me to get. And shout outs to my boy Q, because he really made it all possible for me. A lot of people have been asking for NEKROZ. They say, I know Herald's your favorite deck, but what about NEKROZ? That's literally the exact words I've heard multiple times. So this is my take on it. It's not 40 cards. I don't know why. Like, there's this religion where people think if you play more than 40 cards, you're going against the will of God and you're going to hell. Like, that's just some crazy stuff, man. Like, people just bash it for not being 40 cards. But this is not a 40-card Necro deck, and it is extremely consistent, and it can still kick your butt with your 40-card deck. Trust me, Necros are a really good deck. And I wholeheartedly believe in this deck's capabilities to compete with the meta. I think it's a strong choice. It's a strong rogue choice. It's very hard to counter this deck. There's not very many people side decking for it. I mean, it has its weakest matchup is Colossus, but guess what? My weakest matchup is Colossus, not Thunder Dragons. Nope, I never say Thunder Dragon because there's not even a Thunder Dragon deck that exists anymore. That's not a Thunder Dragon. I don't know what that is besides a conglomeracy of engines like my Orcus deck, but that's not Thunder Dragon. Danger Thunder Guard Dragons, no. But its weakest matchup is Colossus, just like Herald's. So they share the same weakness because they are a search-reliant deck. But when you have the right hand, this deck can clear boards with Colossus and negations, especially with Dance Princess. Dance Princess is just insane. So yeah, I'm going to showcase you guys my build. I think this is a great rogue choice, like I said. It's a really strong ritual deck. Herald is second to none. Nothing's better than Herald of Perfection. But this deck is really good. And like Herald, it requires a lot of skill, a lot of, I guess you could say, thorough thought process. You really need to be patient with this deck, and you can't get greedy and just activate effects just because you can. You have to really maintain your resources adequately, and just keep in mind, just always take, if you don't take anything away from this video, take this away. Just because you can doesn't mean that you should, and that's good advice for any NEKROZ player, because there's so many times where you'll lose games just because you're doing too much and you can't be greedy. Sometimes you have to know when to stop and just play with what you have and then save your rest of your resources for a follow-up. Don't ever overcommit. But anyways, the main deck is 3 copies of Brionic. My boy's back at 3. NEKROZ deserve this card. In fact, where's our Shurit? Can we get that back at 3 too? You know good and well, we just need 3 Shurit and 3 Unicorn. The deck's not going to do that much. It's not going to just take over. I mean, don't get me wrong. All the NEKROZ fans, all the NEKROZ lovers, we're going to come out the woodworks. But it's still, like, come on. Give us Unicorn and give us Shurit. But they did give us Brio. Brio gives us a fighting chance. Like, for example, if Thunder Dragon was just a pure Thunder deck, this card would give you a fighting chance because it's at 3 now. It's easier to draw. And when you hard draw it, you can just spin the Colossus's back, which is just incredible. This deck is literally anti-extra deck, so it's anti-meta because all the meta decks are self-reliant on their extra deck, and you get to rape them with Zabork and cards like that where you just really punish your opponent for relying on their extra deck. So 3 Brio. If you're watching this profile, you should be familiar with their effects, but if not, if you have questions, just let me know in the comment section below. 3 copies of Colossus. I'm a huge believer in 3, especially because I know what my weakest matchup is, and it's Danger Thunder. My outs in my main deck, the only outs that you have in your main deck are Brio, Klaus, and Trish. So since those are the only ways that you can out Colossus going second, basically meaning they're the only, and Unicorn. You could drop Unicorn. So since these are the only outs in your deck that you can main that are not at 1, I feel personally if you want to play the deck, you want to take it to regionals at least, you need to maximize on your main deck outs so that you don't have to rely on searching them. I know that they can be searched. I get that. But when they have a Colossus up, you can't search. So even if you have it out in your main deck, you just need to maximize on your copies of it so that you have a higher chance of drawing it going second, especially getting that 6th card, so that way you don't just automatically lose. I hope you guys understand my reasoning. But besides that, everybody wants to play 2. And I get it. I understand why, hard once per turn, yada, 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 rough. But I just really love 3 Colossus and 3 Colossus and 3 Brio because this is the only fighting chance that I would ever have at trying to beat down a Colossus, other than resolving Zaborg and sending 3 Elder Entities and popping Colossus 3 times, hoping they only have 2 Thunders. And then next up, the next NEKROZ that I play at 3 that I might get hated on just because I like 3 Valk. I've never not played 3 Valk. The only time I played 2 in I put up a deck profile a while ago with the last time I picked up NEKROZ. I only picked up 2 Valk, and I explained in the profile that I only have 2. That's why I'm playing 2. I'm a huge believer at 3. It's a similar mindset with Trishula. You normally want to summon a Trish, having a Trish in hand. Anytime you want to drop a Valk, you want to drop a Valk having a Valk in hand. It's a very similar theory. And it's not because, oh, you use the Valk to protect the Valk. It's just anytime you commit to Valk because you want to get that draw power, especially when you start side deck and you need to see your side deck cards, you need to make sure that you can still protect your Unicorn. So I believe in playing 3 because if you draw one and then you're able to search another, you still have that Battle Fader. You still have that Battle Fader, and you contribute the 2 incantations for your field to get that free +2, which is like resolving an extravagance without having an extravagance in hand at that moment. So again, I just really love 3 Valkyries. Next up, and by the way, if you didn't know, he's based off of Fabled Valkyries. Fabled Valkyries draws 2. So all their effects are nearly reciprocated facsimiles of the embodiment of what they actually are, like what the epitome of them is. This is basically Mistbird Colossalus. This is, you know, Ice Barrier Dragon, the Ice Barrier Dragon Bryonic. So NEKROZ take the old school and made it new school, and I like that about him as well. Very much similar. It reminds me of NEKROZ, of Zephyros, how Zephyros are the embodiment of some older archetypes, just revamped and kind of an evolution of them. But speaking of Trishula, we played 2 copies of Trishula. I actually played 3 of it before, way back in the day. I was like, bro, Trish Turbo. Trish is so good. And it was at a time when we didn't have Trish. I think we either didn't have Trish. Yeah, that's right, because it came back to 1 a little bit later. But we didn't have Trish at that time. So it was like, dude, come on, bro. Come on now. Like, we have Trish. So either we didn't have Trish or it was only at 1. Either way, I was like, bro, the fact that I get to play Trish again, I'm playing 3 of this. I just love this card so much. Like, this is the only removal that you have that doesn't target and doesn't destroy. You can even read Bryonic. Right here, he targets up to 2. If you read Colossalus, he targets. Gungnir targets. So the only removal in your deck that doesn't target or destroy is Trishula. And it's really important whenever you're summoning your Unicorn that you want to have a Trish, you want to have a Valk, and you also, at the same time, you still want to have a Gungnir. The reason being, you either have Gungnir on field or in hand. The reason being is because you don't want your Unicorn to be outed by simple Pankratops. So you don't want them to force your Trish out with Pankratops because you have to keep in mind that Impermanence and Widow Anchor and cards like that exist. So you want to have the protection from destruction so Pankratops doesn't kill it. That way you don't waste a Trish on it. And then you want to have Trish for the Impermanence or the Widow Anchor or the Zombie Stein or whatever. Not the Zombie Stein. I'm sorry, not the Zombie Stein. No. But cards of that nature like Impermanence and Widow Anchor. And then you want the Valk so that they can't run over the Unicorn by battle. So essentially, when you have the embodiment of that protection, you have a Unicorn that, so to speak, can't be targeted or destroyed by battle or card effects, so to speak, because of the protection that the NEKROZ ritual monsters provide. So yeah, I love Trish. The thing is, back in the day when NEKROZ were relevant, people played around Trish. The reason you can play around it still is if you, well, it's not the reason, but the way you play around it is if you leave a monster, if you leave a card outside of one of the 3 places that he needs it to be, you can't resolve them. For example, if you keep a card in hand and keep cards in grave but have nothing on field, you can't be Trished. So sometimes you just have to keep in mind, remain cognizant. Using that knowledge against the Necro player sometimes can make or break the duel's outcome. And that's what we used to do. Back in the day, we were playing around Shaddoll Fusion by not, we were clearing our extra deck or we weren't summoning from our extra deck, and we were playing around Trish. So literally, that's how powerful these cards were in their prime. Trish and Shaddoll Fusion were so powerful that they forced people to make bad choices so that they wouldn't get punished by those cards. Yeah, I miss that format. I play Decisive Armor. I like, dude, OG, old school NEKROZ players understand how good this card still is to this day. Forget the embodiment of a 33 beater. You can make Trish 37 with this card. Like, this card is really good for just getting rid of the back rows. Also, set monsters in your Guru Control matchup. Whenever you're playing against them, they set a lot of their monsters. You could just punish them. Just read the card. It literally says right here, you could target one set card your opponent controls, destroy it, and if you do, banish it. So you can destroy and banish back rows and also monsters that are face down. Keep that in mind. I wish this deck had a main deck Book of Moon, like a Book of Moon like ritual monster. I mean, you could play the Territory and all that. Trust me, you can. And then we have Gungnir. Gungnir outs the floodgates. She outs the floodgates. There can only be one don't hurt, but summon limit can. And then Rivalry definitely hurts. You want Gungnir. She outs the floodgates. She allows you to play a lot more aggro as well, because you can clear boards going second, and OTK, she's 25 body. I love me some Gungnir, man. She's a great card. I also used to play NEKROZ with Sophia, but I sold her. She's coming in the mail very soon. I love Sophia. If you guys don't play NEKROZ with Sophia, try her out. At least give her a chance before you write her off as a bad card. I always love Sophia. She's crazy this format. Like, oh my gosh. And then we have one Catastor. The reason why I still play Catastor, like, again, I guess I should have said this before the profile, but you're going to see some unorthodox card choices, but just because they're not choices that you would make doesn't make them bad choices, because nobody's perfect. You're not a perfect human being, neither am I, and the choices you make for your NEKROZ deck are not the choices that every NEKROZ player is supposed to make. There is no right or wrong way to play or build a deck. As long as it works, that's all that matters. So the reason for playing Catastor, not only bringing back Dance Princess and Shurt, which is actually insane, it really is insane, but it literally makes all of your NEKROZ basically Catastors. Realistically, it makes them constructs. If they battle a special summon monster from the extra deck, at the start of the damage step, you destroy them automatically. And while he's on the field, all of your NEKROZ are like that. So you get super aggro because you can declare an attack into Salamangreat monsters multiple times, play around Baylinks. You literally play testing against a homie that was running, my homeboy Robert. He was running Dangerous Thunder. Like literally just drop, I just Kaleidoscope and drop this, and I dropped this, and I dropped Brionic. That's what it was. I dropped this in Brionic. I sent a level 11 to drop this in Brionic, and then I tried to spin, and then he negated the effect, because all he had was just Zombie Stein and then Colossus. So he tried to negate the effect. He negated the Brio. Then I declared an attack on his Colossus twice, and it forced him to banish both of his Thunder Dragons from grave. So like that way, I felt like if I just had one more body, I could get over it. But it can still help in that matchup is really the point I'm getting. The fact that you can try to kill Colossus so many times until it dies. So even if you don't have a way to clear it with like Brionic, for example, Catastor gives you ample chances to kill that Colossus. And at the same time, it's just good against the format in general. Like just destroying special summon monsters from the extra deck as soon as you attack them. It turns all of your NEKROZ into weapons. Every NEKROZ on the field literally is just like a murderer now. Like it's so crazy. They become pseudo Tridents, just killing monsters the second they battle them, even if they're bigger than them. And then of course the OG Unicorn. Bring it back at 3. Come on now. And then Child Slime is godly in this deck. So many blue cards, bro. But all the blue cards have actual good effects. Catastor is so underrated. People really underestimate the power of Catastor. One of the best interactions, I guess an interaction I can explain to you that would make you want to play him is the fact that you can bring back your Shurt from the graveyard and tribute Shurt again for a ritual summon. Or the fact that you can bring back Dance Princess, have her on field so that none of your stuff can be negated, none of your ritual spells and the ritual summons can be responded to, and that your guys can't be Widow Anchored and they have to Widow Anchor her. Outside of his actual incredible effect, Catastor is amazing. Next up, the incantations. We have 2 of each incantation because I hate drawing hands with multiple incantations. I don't mind drawing 1. Sometimes 2 is a little bit too much because the problem is when you resolve 1 in hand, you resolve the other one, and you can only use 1 effect. So if you draw 2 incantations in hand, that basically means one of them more than likely will not be able to be activated because you need to resolve at least, I'd say, 3 of the incantation's actual effects. You can do that because of Child Slime and the ritual spell Incantation Inception. You want to search off of both Candle and Talismandra hands down, and then you want to use either Bookstone or Pinsaploon to recur in the same turn, in the same exact turn, so you can set up correctly. 8 of them, and then if you thought Zaborg was bad, you're tripping. I hear conflicting opinions about this card. Some people say it's good, some people say it's bad. I think the card's great. I think there's no reason to not play the card. I can understand the arguments, but the good outweighs the bad with this card. The good always outweighs the bad, and it's a win condition in itself. Just taking cards from your opponent's extra deck is so darn good, especially in your weakest matchup. If you go first against Thunder, send all their Colossus. That's the first thing you do, and then pick the other 5 that you want. You're playing Sky Strikers, 3 Kagaris, the 3 Shizukus. Leave them with basically a Hayate and a Kaina. Leave them with that. Make them play with that. They want Hercules base, Trish the Hercules base. Just do it. Trish it. And then and for Salamangreats, they lose. They automatically just lose. They lose. So yeah, Zaborg is just incredible, you guys. It really is. Whenever you have Brio and Klaus, which are realistically going to be in my hand because I played 3 of each of them, you can resolve them both, search. Then when you resolve Zaborg, you send the 2 toads. The 2 toads get Brio and Klaus back, and then the 3 searches, so you get 5 cards off of 1. Plus, he pays for himself, and the incantations you tribute pay for themselves. So, really, you don't break even. You plus super hard. And then, finally, to sum up the monsters, 3 copies of Handy Manny, my helping hand. That's my boy right there. That's my boy. That's my boy. And then we have 1 damn Princess of NEKROZ. This card is insane, you guys. She is so good, dude. I actually wanted to do a build with 3 of her. She's like, when you're going second against Danger Thunder, you got a fighting chance now, especially if you have a Brio in hand with the Ritual spell, which means that you can summon the Brio uninterrupted, and they have to use one of their negators on it. If you have a Trish in hand, bam. Trish stops the negator, and then you can resolve Brio, which is good. And then keep in mind that actually, never mind, they wouldn't even be able to use the negator. So just having her in hand going second against Danger Thunder, you just summon her, activate your Ritual spell. They can't respond, so they can't use Zombie Stein or Hot Red. And then you drop your Brio. They still can't use Zombie Stein or Hot Red because they can't target because of her. So then at that point, Brio just clears their field. Unless they get smart and they're like, negate her effect on summon, then negate the Ritual spell. But yeah, she's insane. And then when she's tributed, it gets even better. And then Shuret. Whoo, that's my boy, man. That is my boy, bro. Man, I'm so glad he's back. I mean, I know it's been a while since he's back, but can I just say, man, I'm so glad he's back. That's my boy. Gishki Avance. Okay, never mind. I'm talking Gishkis now. Yeah, you guys. I bet you guys didn't know that the Gishki tribe, the NEKROZ tribe, is the continuation of the Gishki tribe. The NEKROZ, they're millennials. Okay, they're millennials. They're ungrateful little, you know what I'm saying? The Gishkis are the OGs. But anyways, for the spells, I'm just kidding, I promise. We have 3 copies of Extravagance. Extravagance, I just picked them up at Houston Regionals. It can conflict with Valk, and it can conflict with Zaborg. But nonetheless, high risk, high reward. Just remember that. High risk, high reward. Anytime Konami makes a card that powerful, there's always a risk involved with it. The same with Desires, the same with Demise. They have restrictions. This one's restriction is not so bad because you don't draw that much. But it's the fact that you're taking cards that Zaborg could use against your opponent. But just keep in mind, it's at random, and you do play 9 Zaborg targets. So you're never going to banish all 9 of them. That's for sure, for sure. 3 Extravagance. And it's the best Ash bait ever. And then one of the cards that made my deck more than 40 cards is 3 Extra Foolish Burial. You're either sending Arclight, or you're sending Elder Entity, or you're sending Totally Awesome, or you're sending Siphon Little Omega. Oh my gosh, there's so many targets for this card. It's crazy. Yeah, this is so multi-purpose and flexible. I don't care about paying half my life points. I'm very confident that when I play this deck, that I'm going to win. And then we have 3 copies of Prep. Ooh, that's my second favorite spell in the game, bro. Bro. And then we have 1 Rhoda. So these are all of your utility spells. These just get you access to multiple cards, give you access to a variety of plays. And then for the ritual spells, I kept it real simple. This is always the ratio I played. Actually, back in the day, I played 3-2-2. I always played 3 Kaleido. Kaleido was I just like the aggressive plays you get off Kaleido. It's the only one that lets you drop more than 1. It's the only one. It's crazy. Like, Kaleido is good. Kaleido is still my favorite. I know how good Cycle is. I know you could grind with Cycle. Cycle is like your late game card. Mirror's pretty good too because it's almost for free. But Kaleido's my favorite one. And then we have 2 copies of Cycle and then 1 Inception. When you're running low on, if you're ever grinding really hard with NEKROZ and you're running low on the ritual spells, keep in mind that Inception is an ever recurable ritual spell that you can use to summon any of the NEKROZ. So it kind of helps. Incantation support really just made this deck way more powerful than it ever was in its prime. I would definitely say that even with Shuret being at 1 and Unicorn being at 1, this deck is still stronger and better than it was in its prime. So when we get Shuret back to 3 and Unicorn at 3, you definitely see NEKROZ shake things up even more. For the extra deck, we have, let me check something out. 3 Herald of the Arclight. This belongs in my Herald of Perfection deck, but I decided to be merciful and allow my NEKROZ the glory and the awesomeness of playing this card, whom belongs to his father, Herald of Perfection. And then we have 3 Every time you resolve Zaborg on second, you say this. You have to say it. And then 3 Toads. For my Kaleidoscope, so once I get my Omega, because I sold all my Omegas. I'm telling you, I'm a crackhead at regionals. I sell stuff so much, and it's just for some quick cash. Because normally whenever I go to regionals, I miss out on money. So I have to find a way to make that money back. But anyways, I'd probably say when I get my Omegas back, I'd either cut an Unts or I'd cut a Toad. But for now, since I don't have Omega, this kind of is just, the third toe is where the Omega is supposed to be. And then I play 2 12s. I just like these because they look cool. And this is supposed to be an 11. This is the 10. I know it's a 10. It's supposed to be an 11. It's supposed to be Star Eater. And I like Titan for the level 10 because I hate Thunder Dragons. And I'd rather disrespect their card by using it as a kaleidoscope target. And then we have Trish. Level 9 matters. Level 9 matters. Brio Klaus going second is insane. Can I say that again? Brio Klaus going second is insane. And you got to represent Trishula. And then Nyarla. In hindsight, if I ever played this deck competitive, I would swap this for Gaga Cowboy or Abyss Dweller in a heartbeat. You need the 10 and the 11 and the 9, but 12 comes up a lot more because you can drop you could drop Trish Klaus, Valk Unicorn, you could drop Catastor, Gunganir. 12 just lets you do more. It lets you do a lot more. It really does. Yeah, but the Nyarla, if you guys were curious what it does, Nyarla, you can use her for basically all of the good Zabor targets. You can use her. She can loop Toad, she can loop Unts, and she can loop Arc. That's why I still want to play her because she's incredible, bro. You can protect her with Valken cards that just prevent your opponent from attacking over her. And you kind of just, when you have an established board, there's so many other cards that are threatening. And this doesn't seem threatening to your opponent, so they normally don't do anything to it. And then every turn you just detach an Arc. Then you can trade an Arc for an Unts. And then you get a different variety. You have a variety effect. Then you can detach an Unts and then get a Toad. And you detach a Toad and then get back an Arc. And you kind of just loop these. And it makes the board that much more powerful. Because you can just resolve them and just keep grinding and just adding resources from grave, adding resources from deck, and just popping cards. So I do think Nyarla is insane. If I had extra space, I'd play Azathoth too. Because Azathoth lets you go super aggro whenever you're done playing with her. Whenever you're literally done just playing with her. Just but that's my NEKROZ deck profile, you guys. If you have doubt, I'm not going to say like if you want to hate, but if you have doubt, if you don't believe in my deck, I could easily show you guys duels, test hands, combo videos, etc. It all depends how it falls on my schedule. It really does. Because my schedule is crazy, bro. It really is, man. Seriously. Like, I do so much. And you guys, like, there's a lot of people don't know about me. But I'm always busy, bro. Like, I'm rarely ever home. And when I'm home, I literally have to make sure that before I leave anywhere that I do a video. So that way I can upload it later. Like, very, very dedicated to my channel. More dedicated to my channel than any of my teammates all put together. God bless you guys. Make good choices. Don't hurt your brain cells. Stay tuned for future content. Have a beautiful day and stay positive, all right? Peace.